Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Just gonna make my mom had some cardiac surgery in Kelowna, and me and my son were trying to fish Okanagan Lake. I was walking the beach, and I always pick up glass that I found, and I found this little bottle bottom. So I'll see if I can make a nice little point out of it for you on a video, and then we'll see if we make a couple more videos today. So without further ado, I will try to work this bottom for you. Be careful when you're working the edge. So this bottle, I don't know if you can see it here, it's got a big curve here. Well, on the bottom side it's dished in. So what we want to do right now is we want to work on this, getting flakes running across this dish part, and then we'll work the convex piece at the end, right? Because it's easier to run flakes this way across the convex piece, and this way the flakes terminate all the time. So that's what the plan is. Some bottle bottoms, when you get them, are really flat, and some, unfortunately, are not. Some guys will use a glass cutter and cut the bottom in half this way. I was doing that to start, gave me more points, but I decided to start working the whole bottom just because I thought it would make me better at getting rid of curves and stuff out of the pieces. So that was what my intention was. And there's always, if you don't mind, when you go for a walk or you don't mind looking around, there's always napping material laying around on the ground. You can find small little rocks. You can find like agates, pieces of glass, broken pieces of mirror. You find it all. It depends on what you're comfortable with. See, I don't know, it's hard to see on clear glass, but you can see I got the flakes running in almost a ½ inch round, except this one edge here that I haven't got. So I'll braid all these edges, I'll braid them down, I'll braid them this way, which brings that edge back up, and then I can flip it over and run more flakes across, trying to flatten it. And it's always, especially when you're working with curved stuff, it's always the point and the base that have a little bit of the curl happening. So I'm just going to move this on the head just a little bit. There we go. Like I said, I'll braid it down. And don't try to force it. Like when you're working it, you don't have to hit it hard. People have a tendency to want to drive flakes, so that they figure if they hit it harder, they'll drive a flake farther. The problem with that is, in theory, that does work, and sometimes you will get a flake to travel a huge distance. But what I've found more often than not is when you try to hit it too hard or you get a little bit too rambunctious, that you end up snapping your piece. I've got a whole thing at home full of snapped pieces that, you know, I've made that, oh yeah, I just got to hit it just a little bit harder. Like you can see when I'm hitting, I'm not smacking it, I'm just basically tapping it. And as you can see, like the nice thing about glass compared to flint and or chert and jaspers, and even, well, some agates you can see through, but when it's down this way, when you hit it, you can actually see how far in your flake is going. So yeah, it works out a little bit easier. Sounds like my mom's dogs are going to go off on. Oh, my buddy's dog just barked at the neighbor's dogs. So that's the dog you can hear in the background of my buddy's dog, Lady. There you go. You see, we're sorting, working it in so that we're getting the flakes to come farther in. And I'll braid it down again, and then I'll work them in. We got a little bit on each end still. You can see the still dished out. You can see that still got that dish down there. So we want that out so that we want these flakes coming in this way, so it's a flat piece. And then once we got that, we'll look at shaping the point, and then we'll run flakes across this side. Oh, back up, lady. Whoa, whoa, back up, back up. Oh, come on. I don't want you getting hurt paws. And you'll see me always, I take the piece and I look at it. I'm trying to look at for good places to smack it. That's got a good platform. patient. Like even for people that when you're first starting out, not everything's going to work out the way you want it. What I did is I took a couple, I kept a bunch of my first points, all made from different materials, and I go back and I look at them. You look at what I make now to what I made 4 years ago when I started, huge difference, right? And it should be like that for everybody. Because the more you flint knap, the more you learn, the more tricks that you find out, the more things you learn not to do. And trust me, the learning curve on things not to do is huge. Oh, that was not a good hit. I'm glad I didn't break it. Okay, so there you can see it's basically flat. No more dished anymore. So now I'm gonna work it in until I get more of a, I'm just gonna keep working it till I get the shape. I'm gonna make a little, well, I'm gonna go for a little northern side notch, maybe a Cahokia if I get lucky enough, and I'll be able to post it up here and you'll be able to see me make it. So our ancient ancestors, when they made stuff, they didn't make sure that it was perfect. They just needed it to function. So if you look at, like, I've got some bunch of original points at home, and my original points, the ones that I found or had given to me, that were found at like Cahokia Creek, just outside of Kamloops. If you look at those points, they're not symmetrical. I mean, some of them they have one notch here, and then the other notch will be up here, and that's how they hafted it onto their piece of wood. The flaking's not perfect. Nothing's perfect. It just had to function so that they could do their job. It's not that they couldn't make the parts that the pieces that way. It's just they didn't have to, or they needed something quick, fast, so that they could either hunt or if they were defend themselves. So you got to keep that in mind. Like, people, you see points nowadays, and there's so many talented nappers out there, and you watch stuff that they work, and some of their pieces, they're perfect. And again, it's not like our ancestors couldn't do that. Our ancestors could 100% do that, but they didn't have the time to sit there for an extra 15 or 20 minutes to make something perfect, so that they just needed it to function. So as long as you keep that in mind, like, you'll see guys will be really picky because they don't skin the whole piece, or there's a piece of factory whatever left on the piece, and it's just at the point where, at what point you go, okay, but you know, we have the ability to piss around and do stuff like this. but they never did back then, right? They just needed it to function. So all the arrowheads you find nowadays, or that are made nowadays, are damn near perfect. They're symmetrical. I mean, you got guys that do notches like you wouldn't believe. I mean, like Mike Cook is, for one, his notches are like out of this world, and you just sort of sit there and go, holy crap. Remember I was talking to you about running the flakes across the convex piece? I mean, just 4 taps, 4 flakes, and all the flakes are past the halfway point. So now I'll come back from this side and do it again, and then we'll be down into pressure flaking, and then we'll get this one all done up. I'm at my mom's house today, so napping outside because she just had cardiac surgery. So the traffic you hear is on the highway as it turns the corner of our house and starts heading towards the mine. I grabbed the wrong size glove for my bag. I left my actual really nice notching pad that my friend Sean sent me. I left it at home, so I got to use my homemade one. Let's see if I can get one of the leather working guys up here to make me a couple. And again, if you don't get your, don't put lots of pressure. If it doesn't pop off, then your platform's not proper. Don't try to force it, because as soon as you try to force it, you're gonna end up with a bunch of pieces in your hand, not a finished point. You'll see that happen quite often. You get a bunch of guys sitting around and start napping, and then they have a really nice point that they're working on, and then all of a sudden they just want that one more flake off of it, and that one more flake is cost them the point. So, right, and there's so many different nappable materials out there. Like even around here, there's so many, like all the insulators along the train tracks. The natives used to use those to flint knap. Glass, lots of glass shops around, secondhand stores, because they have all the stuff people are throwing out, like their old glasses and vases and stuff like that. Old Pyrex dishes work really well. I mean, there's so many different things that you can knap. I mean, if you're in an area that doesn't have lots of knappable material, there's so many different things that you can do to get knappable material. And, you can go to the Home Depot and buy porcelain and ceramic tiles, dirt cheap. They're like 67 cents a piece, and they knap actually really well. I got some at home. I do a material challenge. Jack Crafty, he's done all kinds of it. He's got tons of videos. He's really good. Jay Valenti, Wilderness Quest Outdoors, he naps lots of really tough material like creek rock and stuff like that, and he makes some really nice stuff. So it's one of those things, right? You just keep working it and working it and working it until you get what you want, until you're happy with it. If you're not happy with it, then keep going until you are. Right? In the end, it always comes down to you. Are you happy with what you made? Yes, then that's as far as it needs to go. If you're not happy, then you're not happy. Then see if you can do something to fix it. Not always does that happen. Not everybody. Lots of times when you go to fix something, it doesn't go the way you want it. Might have had that happen a few times. Just saying. I live 3 hours away from the coast, and my wife gave me a piece of rose quartz, and I could see it had concordial fractures and lines running through it where it looked like it had been hit with, obviously, when they worked it or whatever, and which is all fine and dandy. But then, so my wife's like, I'm not using it, you can have it. So I was like, okay. So I get it, and I start working it, and I get the really nice point, but I can see it's got 3 flaws in it. And I had a pretty decent point made out of it. And then figured if it stayed together, I could see it. You know, I was sketchy in my head, but I was like, yeah, you know, it stayed together. I can take this last flake. And I went to pop the last flake off, and I should never have done that, because as soon as I went to pop that flake off, I came apart. I was holding 3 pieces in my hand. So when I was talking to my friend on the coast, I asked him if he heard a noise last night, and he's like, no, why? And I told him what happened. I was surprised he didn't hear me cursing from all the way up here. And he just laughed. So sometimes you gotta do a little bit to set your platforms up. Take a little bit and go one way, and then go the other. And that was perfect. I just popped that whole hump off. So that's what we're looking at for a piece now. So we're gonna narrow the base up a bit. We'll try to keep the length. We'll just keep running flakes up each side, so until it narrows it up enough, and then we'll get a nice sharp little point, and then we'll throw a couple notches in it for you. Oh, I just got that big hinge off of it. Perfect. I won't get stung by a little glass piece. There you go. Just drew some blood. That's the other thing. If you're gonna flint knap, make sure you got lots of band-aids or lots of crazy glue, because crazy glue does wonders for stitching up the hand where the sharp rocks decide to lay it open. And if you really pay attention when you're braiding stuff, you don't need to use an actual piece of grinding stone. You can find a piece of sandstone while you're out walking the creek. All right, here's a little, when I found this on the beach of the lake, I found this nice little hammerstone, which is what I used to clean up the edge. And whenever you're flint knapping, make sure you clean up all your debutage and your flakes, because especially if you sit down beside a creek or a river and you start working it, if somebody that doesn't know comes up and then they find all this debutage, and they're going to get a hold of everybody, and all of a sudden the area is going to get shut down, because now they're going to do a whole bunch of exploration, because they wonder if it might be a heritage area from the natives. So please clean up your debutage. Don't leave a mess and cost taxpayers thousands of dollars, because in the end that's what it costs. By flipping your piece over and abrading the edges like multiple times, we'll go one way then the other way, you actually move the edge quite a bit. You can move it up to 1/8 of an inch. Just remember not to be too aggressive, because sometimes when you're too aggressive, you can also snap your point. And considering right now, just on this little point, I'm already into it for 30 minutes, and in the video, it would really suck if I was to push it and break it now, because it'd be like, damn it. That was nip and tuck. I might have been sweating a little bit of bullets there. somebody listening to the Journey on the highway. Gotta like that. Good music. Oh, there's a lady putting her 2 cents worth in. All right, so there's our finished little point. So now I'll put some notches in it. I'll go up and dress the edges all up, and we'll show you what you look like. So I think I'm going to make this one a Cahokia if everything works well, and or maybe I'll make it a fancy northern side notch. But we'll see how it works out. It'll all be on video for you. Oh, lady, back up, lady. Whoa, 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 back up. Come on, back up. No, I don't want you getting sore feet. Come on, back up. She wants to come and play, be part of it. Your notches, like for the side for attaching it to your haft, they don't have to be deep. People like to make them deep because it shows their skill, and it's definitely skill to drive them in deep. Lots of times I found when you push that one in and you want to push it just because you're trying to make a really nice deep notch, and then all of a sudden when you're like, especially on a Cahokia, so like in a Cahokia there's a third notch that goes right in here. Lots of times when you push that notch in deep, this whole corner breaks off. So you got to be mindful of that as well. And it's a huge learning curve. So when I first started, I can be honest, I probably made 2,000 pounds of gravel. Why? Because I didn't know how the material was going to react or how it was going to act when I started working it. I watched videos, Ryan Gill and Hunt Primitive, Jack Crafty, Jay Valente, Wilderness Crest Outdoors. I mean, these guys are the ones that I learned from. And like I said, I watched video, I'd grab a piece of rock, work it. No, that didn't work. So then I would watch the video again, grab another piece of rock, try it. Unfortunately, there's not many nappers where I live. There's one guy that lives about an hour away. There was a guy that lived an hour away going the opposite direction, but he had a rock shop, which was pretty cool because you could go there and he had a bunch of rock that you could always get different rock that you've never worked before. And but unfortunately, he closed his doors. And when he closed his doors, then now I don't know where he went. So can't really ask that guy many questions either. Now my friends that are rock hounds, they're starting to give me some nice rock from around here, local rock, which I really like working. So, all right. So there's 2 of the 3 notches. You can see them. Not quite symmetrical, but everybody seems to have problems with notches, and I'm one of them. It's not that far out, it's only a 16th out, but man, it sure looks, when you're looking at it, it sure looks different. And your notch, so if your notching tool, we'll say your notching tool is a 1/16 of an inch wide, like right here. So you don't want to just push your notch in with the tool at that width. You want your notch to be like a 32nd of an inch on either side of this, because what ends up happening is if once you get your notch in deep, if you push it a little bit or whatever, and this turns just a smidge, when that flake pops off, you break the whole piece off. And again, you don't just set your platforms up, take your time, work your notches in. You know, sometimes they work the way you want it, and sometimes they do not. And you see some guys will have, they have little tiny carbide files that allows them to go in, like when they stall out, they'll take a small file and go in and notch it with a small file to put a good platform in there so that they can go ahead and continue on. All right, so just notches stall out. Sometimes you can't do anything about it. Whether it was a cause because the platform on the rock was a little different, or whatever the case is, there's always something, right? Don't beat yourself up over it, because crap happens. Oh, I think we're gonna have a train coming by. Hoping that wouldn't happen until the video was done, but sometimes you can't help that. Okay, so there's the bottom. So now I'll just run up the sides, finish shaping it, sharpen it up, and then it's a done piece. Again, you don't want to take real gentle around the tip, because lots of times when you're working on the tip to sharpen it, you can actually break the tip. And I don't know how many times I've broken a 1/4 inch off my tip. People are like, well, 1/4 inch isn't that much, but when you're trying to make something a certain way and then you break a 1/4 inch off it, it's sort of